Alrighty there, gamers. What's up, everybody? I just got done playing Street Fighter 5 for about an hour and a half. I had a decent enough time. My points are kind of like fluctuating, but it's like at a nice middle point in silver. I'm sitting at about 2500 LP, and yeah, I look forward to playing the game more. Now, if you didn't know, Dragon Ball FighterZ is my main game. I mention this somewhat frequently when I talk about other games, but I play a whole slew of different fighting games just because I like to have options for people that want to play a game that they already have an opponent. So I'll play Street Fighter, I'll play Dragon Ball, I'll play Tekken and be very bad at it. I really want to pick up King of Fighters 15. There's a whole bunch of games that I really want to get into. Now, somewhat recently, some friends of mine got into Dragon Ball. They started picking up the game. They're still pretty fresh and new to the game and fighting games as a whole, but we've been playing other games in addition to Dragon Ball, i.e. Soul Calibur 6 and Dead or Alive 6. I would say we play Soul Calibur a bit more, but we still will definitely get down on some Dead or Alive. As I said, Dragon Ball is my main game. These friends of mine are kind of taking their first steps into Dragon Ball. So I'm sure you could imagine there's a bit of a skill gap. Now, it's not like I'm amazing at the game or anything. Like, I'm fairly competent. It's definitely the game I'm the most familiar with, the game that I know the most about, but I'm still very prone to not playing amazing. Now, I'm sure you can imagine someone that's experienced in a game facing off against newer players. There's a bit of a skill gap there. At the end of the day, I still want to play against my friends, but I'll usually do what I can to kind of even the playing field. I'll usually let them pick my team or just play characters I'm generally uncomfortable with. And yeah, we'll have some matches. Now, as I said, we also play Soul Calibur 6 and Dead or Alive 6. If I haven't already mentioned, Soul Calibur is probably the game that we all have the most equal footing on. None of us are very good. We're all kind of in that introductory phase where everything is uncomfortable. We don't really know what we're doing. If you don't know, I'm playing Killick. I think he's a lot of fun. I don't actually know how good he is, but I would say if one of us was the best out of all of us that are playing, I would say it would just be me very slightly, but any game can go any way at any time. Like, I can lose to anyone, I can beat anyone, it do be. Now, with that being said, on the note of Dead or Alive 6, Mark is familiar with the game. He's played the game. He's a little bit more comfortable with the system mechanics and how they work a little bit. Generally puts a little bit more damage on the table with his combos, and that's cool. That's dope. I definitely don't mind facing off against him. I'll play 100 matches of Dead or Alive. I could care less. Now, the point I'm getting at is actually based around experience. When I play Dragon Ball against my friends, it's not that I'm stoked to like be beating up on newer players. In fact, it's actually the inverse of that. I would much rather, and this is the point here, I would much rather be the one at a deficit, i.e. Dead or Alive. Mark is better than me. I would rather get beat up against him in a game that he's more comfortable with than beat up a newer player in a game that I'm comfortable with. Because part of it, as a fighting game player, we all develop this mentality that, no, I'm not going to give up even if I'm getting beat up. I'm gonna figure this out. Like, I'm gonna do the thing, like, keep playing cheap, I don't care. I'm gonna figure this out. And now that could be in the course of the match itself, or that could be over time. Maybe you have like a training mode session where you try to figure things out, get a little bit more comfortable with your character, get a little bit more comfortable with the matchup. You have this resolve. But against newer players that haven't developed that resolve, that really haven't solidified themselves into the FGC or fighting games as a whole, you're going to get the classic, this isn't fun because I'm losing, I don't want to play anymore. And that is such a bitter pill to swallow, because the way you think about it is like, man, I took my lumps to get where I am and get this mentality. But at the end of the day, not everyone has that mentality or has developed that mentality quite yet. It's still a point that they're in the process of actually developing that. The thing that I've wondered though is, does everyone have that mindset in them, or is it just us select few that are just masochists for fighting game, that we're just like, oh yeah, beat me up, I'm gonna fucking hop in the hyperbolic time chamber, I'm gonna get my Zenkai boost, throw me a sensu bean, bro, I'll be good, like, it'll be chill. I mention this somewhat frequently, but I played off against one of my viewers in Street Fighter 5, i.e. Peter. They are definitely a bit more of an experienced Street Fighter player than I am. They're an Ultra Gold Luke player, and initially when we first faced off, the first set that we played, I got bodied pretty good. The second set was definitely a bit more competitive, but the whole time, whether I was getting bodied or not, I'm just like, yeah, this is great. Like, I'm having a great time. These are really fun matches. I could care less if I win. If it wasn't as late as it was, I would have gladly played Peter for like 100 games. Looping things back around a little bit, I'm really stoked and impressed and happy for all the progress that everyone's made. And I don't mean this to slight the others, but especially in Mark's case, because I can tell he's getting a little bit of that competitive nature. He's a little bit more willing to put in the work, like hang out in training mode, figuring things out. He's asking a ton of questions, and that's awesome. That's fucking sick. I know this is like a bit of a shorter, kind of no duh video, but let me know if you agree with my sentiment. Let me know if you'd rather get beat up in someone else's game than be a god in your game against someone newer. But I think that's gonna do things. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to see more, check out the rest of the channel. In the description, there's links to not just my channel, but my friends' channels as well. With that being said, description, there's a link to my Discord. You guys can check it out. It is a place and space for fighting games. So if you are a good player, a newer player, just go in the Discord, say, hey, does anyone want to run some games of this? Chances are I'll play against you, but there might be some other people that are interested. We're just trying to get more and more people in there and just have some fun with fighting games. I'll see you later. Peace.